Is up, you guys? I've got a completely different type of video for you today. This is going to be a long form video, which I have not done yet, but this is also going to probably be the most important, impactful, and knowledgeable video I've ever dropped. So please feel free to grab a notebook, have a seat, take some notes, and come back to this as necessary. But this is going to be a complete breakdown of how I did it and what it takes to go from a 265-pound miserable fat alcoholic making terrible decisions to 175 pounds lean, disciplined, completely different mindset, saved my life, saved my marriage, all within 6 months time. So I get a lot of questions every time I post a transformation of how I did and how I did it and how I did it so quickly. This is going to show you exactly how I do that and exactly how I program my clients to do the same exact thing. So sit down, enjoy it, and yeah, man, come back as needed. And I appreciate you being here. All right, what's up, guys? This is Chris. Some of you might know me as Grayline Fitness on Instagram. We're gonna be doing a longer video today. This is a video like none other that I've done so far, quite a bit different. But the reason I'm doing this video is because I've been getting a lot of questions lately about my transformation, about how I did it so quickly, how I do the same thing for my clients. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, in 2021, I was 265 pounds, very fat, very out of shape. For reference, I'm 5'9", and just living a terrible life, man. I was married with kids and I was making terrible decisions. I was a complete alcoholic. Just life was going off the rails, and I decided it was time to make a change. I had to save it all, and I did it. I went from 265 pounds to 175 pounds, very lean, very in shape, mentally, physically, emotionally in shape as well, with a completely different mindset, completely different outlook. I basically saved my life, saved my marriage, and greatly increased the quality of life as well in less than 6 months, actually. So this is a video that's going to explain exactly how I did that step by step and exactly how I do that, continue to do that for my clients. So yeah, here we go, man. So first of all, this is called the blueprint for life. This is how we completely change your life physically, mentally, and emotionally in 180 days or less. I call this the blueprint for life because this is not just a fitness program. This is not just a get in shape quick, just here's your macros and meal plan and workout program. All right, you're good to go. Get out of here. This is for the people that are looking for a deeper change of that obviously the fitness is a big aspect of that, but they want to change their mindset. They want to gain the confidence. They want to build the resilience. They want all of the things that come along with hard work. Okay. So that's why this is called Blueprint for Life. Okay. Come on. All right. So first of all, this is not another quick fix. This is not a challenge. This is not a quick fix. This is not a fitness influencer program. Blueprint for Life exists because I live the exact life most men reading this are living right now. And I know what it feels like to be stuck in it. The program is born from real struggle, real pain, and real transformation. It exists for men who are ready to stop making excuses and start making changes that last. Again, going back to what I was saying, this is not just some get fit quick. This is not just some program. This is, you are dedicating yourself to making a change in your life. This is when the real change happens. Okay. When you're in that struggle, when you're in that pain, when you need that change, this is what this is for. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up right now. All right. So a little bit about my story. I kind of went over it a minute ago, but happened at my rock bottom. Physical reality of it, I was 265 pounds, honestly, probably 30 to 40% body fat. Just terrible lifestyle, man. Terrible lifestyle. I was drinking every night, heavily every night, binge eating like crazy, lazy, just making terrible decisions that were not only affecting me, but affecting my family as well. Just not doing good, man. I had no confidence. My energy was gone. I was out of breath just playing with my daughter. You know, I was uncomfortable in my own body. I didn't even want to be seen by anybody out in public. I didn't have clothes that fit me. I was just embarrassed all around, man. It wasn't a good time for me physically. And then the mental breaking point for me was even worse than that, honestly. During that time, because of my decisions, my drinking, my lack of leadership, things got so bad for my wife that she planned on leaving me because of the terrible decisions that I was making. I wasn't showing up as the man, as the leader, and the person that I needed to be showing up as for her to feel comfortable in our marriage, and it was a terrible, terrible time. And it rocked my world. Just hearing it from her rocked my world. So that was the actual mental breaking point for me when I decided, you know what? It's not about me anymore. I got to change everything. I got to fix this. I can't lose this because of my terrible decisions. So in that moment, again, that's when everything changed for me. It wasn't just because I wanted to be jacked and in shape and whatever. Honestly, at that point, that was the last thing on my mind. I was just sick and tired of being the man that I was being. I was sick and tired of being a fucking alcoholic, of being miserable and not being the right leader and the example for my kids and my wife. And I was just tired of being the weak one in my house. I knew I had to become more. I knew I had to be stronger. I knew I had to be the best version of me for my family. And that was when I made the decision and just went all in on myself, and just changed everything, man. I lost 90 pounds. I was lean. I was strong, super disciplined. My habits were dialed. My mindset was different. I just moved through life differently within 6 months, which is crazy. All right. So this is me right here before. What really changed, the most important thing in my life improved. My family, my marriage, my home life. The respect I had from my wife that I wanted for so long, that I didn't understand why I didn't have, was finally there, because I was finally showing up as the man that deserved the respect, that made it natural for her to respect me as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a leader of our household. All because I just decided to change my habits, to change my mindset, to change the way I was living. It happened within 6 months. Honestly, less, but 6 months total, I should say. So fitness was the vehicle. Obviously, that was the route, because I went in all in physically. But the goal was to become more as a man. The goal was to be a better leader, a better father, a better husband. And fitness was just the baseline of that. That was the vehicle that got me there. Okay. And so most men get fitness wrong, right? They believe they need to dedicate their entire life to the gym. They believe they need to spend hours and hours and hours training, and need to give up every food they've ever loved and stop enjoying life in order to get the results. And that's just not true. And it pisses me off that the fitness industry is just so detached from real life. You go on Instagram and you just see, not even want to call anybody out, but you see a lot of the people, a lot of the influencers, a lot of the coaches, whatever, and they're selling these programs, but they just have no idea what it's actually like to do those things with full-time responsibilities, working 40 to 60 hours a week, being a father, being a husband, having that home life that needs your attention. You have real responsibilities, you have pressure, you have all of these things that live inside you and sit on your shoulders that you have to manage and take care of. You can't just focus solely on the gym. You don't have hours and hours to spend. It's just not real. The shit we're seeing is not real, and I can't stand it, because it almost makes people lose hope, because they feel like they aren't able to achieve what they need to achieve because they're watching this out of touch person do it on Instagram. It's not the reality. So the way that I did this, I built it around real life. Obviously, I still had my responsibilities. I was still married. I still had kids. I still had a job. I still had all these things that I had to get done, And so this program is built for real life. It's fitness that fits into your life instead of taking it over. So this is completely built around your schedule, your needs, everything that you have going on in life. This is how that's where we start to build the program. And before I explain how everything works, I need to be very, very clear about something. I need to be very clear about who this is for and who this is not for. Okay. So this is for somebody that carries real responsibilities, jobs, family obligations, being a husband, being a father, They have a real schedule with real hours that they have to do shit. They have limited time, but they're committed completely to what matters most. And people that want actual results, that are willing to commit to the process to make the actual transformation without actually sacrificing your entire life for that. So who that looks like is a man that's not lazy. He's not soft. He works hard. He shows up every day for his family and the people who depend on him. He takes pride in providing. But somewhere along the line, he stopped prioritizing himself. He let himself slip. He let himself fall. He got into that black hole that he just can't climb out of now, on his own at least. And he knows that he should be in better shape. He feels it every time he gets stressed. Putting on clothes when you are fat and miserable and you don't feel good about yourself is one of the worst things in the world. Okay. When you're in this position, every time you look in the mirror, every time your energy's running out, every time you feel like you can't do something, it crushes you. And it makes you more depressed and it numbs you more. And then you go back to the vices to try and get out of that depression, right? So this is who this is for the guy that's struggling in those areas. All right. It's also for somebody that still wants to enjoy his life, that doesn't want to give up everything completely, because honestly, the reason we do fitness in general is for real life. It's for our families. It's to show up better for everybody, right? So we don't want to give up ice cream with our kids. We don't want to give up date nights with our wife. We want to still enjoy those things and enjoy life while staying on track, right? Without having to just completely eat out of Tupperware on a freaking night out with your wife, or go to ice cream with your kids and just sit there while they're asking you why you can't have any. And, it's just, we don't want to give up real life to make this happen. Okay. So this is for somebody that's ready to commit, ready to be coached, and ready to do the work. This is not for anybody. Actually, we'll just go into that section right now. Who this is not for. So this is even more important than who this is for, because the reality is there's a lot of people in this program that do it that aren't completely miserable, that aren't in that depressed state, that aren't in all those areas I just explained. But let me tell you exactly who this is not for. I refuse to work with men, and this program will not work for men that are not willing to commit. Men that make excuses, men who are not honest, men who are not coachable, men who cannot take criticism, men who want results without doing the work do not belong in this program at all. Okay? I do not want excuses. I do not want a halfway commitment. I don't want dishonesty. The only way that you are able to make the change for yourself, for your family, is if you are willing to commit, go all in, and be honest. Be honest with yourself, be honest with me, be honest with those around you about what you're doing, why you're doing it, if you're following the plan, if you're not following the plan. And I don't want to hear excuses. Excuses are going to kill your progress more than anything else, because you start justifying the things you're not doing with things that aren't even true. All right. So the thing about fitness, fat loss in general, that a lot of people miss is that it's not about the motivation. It's about the structure. It's about consistency and doing the things that you don't want to do because you need to do them in order to keep progressing, right? Realistically, we need to take motivation off the table completely. It's awesome when it's there and we could ride the wave when it is there. But if we rely on that, we're going to fail. This program is a system that allows you to operate even when you don't want to do that, right? So what works every time is proper training, proper nutrition, daily movement, and building an unbreakable mindset by doing the reps and reps and reps, step by step, brick by brick, okay? Obviously, you're not going to have that unbreakable mindset in the beginning. You might be coming in completely broken, but through this program, through this system, each step you do is going to get you closer to that point until you are unbreakable, until you are just unfuckwithable, to where you just do the things because that's what you do now. And what does not work is fad diets, crash diets, extreme restriction, and hours and hours and hours spent in the gym. At least for the people like us, that doesn't work. All right. So what being in shape really means. Being in shape for life is about more than how you look. It's about everything else. You know, it's about your energy, it's about your confidence, about your capabilities, show up for your family and lead. It's about how you handle stress, to be present and in the moment with, with your family, with the people around you, to not be thinking about everything else, about how miserable you are and how you can't do this and how you can't do that and what your clothes look like on you. It's to get out of that state. It's to provide mentally, physically, and emotionally, financially. Which what a lot of people don't understand is once you actually get in really good shape, all of those things increase a lot, but especially your ability to produce financially, which is a crazy thing because fitness and making money go hand in hand, honestly. But it's besides the point. All right, so how I actually did this. All right, so we're going to get into this actual step-by-step now, the program, what we do to achieve it. So first of all, the first thing you have to do is start with your mind. I'm going to crack this Red Bull really quick. So the first thing was I decided I was going all in on myself. I decided that there was no other option. I was not negotiating with the version of me that was comfortable being average, unhealthy, and reliable. I was done talking to that motherfucker. I was done listening to his excuses. I wasn't doing it anymore. I committed that no matter what, I was going to make that progress and I would die before I failed. Okay. I stopped compromising. I stopped half committing. I did exactly what I had to do every single day in order to become the man that I knew my family needed without fail. I did not compromise. I did not negotiate. I did not fail. I refused to fail. And that's how you have to attack this. And not saying, like I said above, you don't have to give up all the things you love. It's not like you can't do the fun things. It's not like you can't eat the fun things. But you have to be completely committed to this process in order for it to work. So, for a time period, this was a priority, not because my fitness mattered more than my family, but because becoming disciplined, capable, and dependable mattered more than staying comfortable. I understood that if I wanted a different life, I had to become a different man. And that's why the commitment is necessary, because you have to become a completely different person in order for this to work. All right, so the 4 pillars of my transformation, as well as these are the same exact things that I run for all of my clients. So structured training, all right? I trained consistently with a structured weight training program that fit into my real schedule, but I did not miss any sessions. Focused on work, no wasting time, strength-based training designed to build muscle while stripping the fat off. So this can look different for each individual. For me, I actually, during that first 6 months, I was training 6 days a week, but I wasn't training more than an hour at a time. And the reason I was training 6 days a week is because I was building that momentum and keeping that momentum steady. Now, I did not let my training affect my time with my family. And I talk about this all the time on my Instagram. I wake up early in the morning, and that's what I started doing then. I started waking up early in the morning and getting my workouts in before my family was even awake, so that I was still able to be present during that time with them, right? And not have to take time after work in the evenings when, they have practice and we have dinner together and all the things that we can be doing in the evening. I don't want to spend my time at the gym. And a lot of pushback I get on that is, well, I'm going to be tired. I'm not going to have the energy to spend with them. That might be the case for a week or two, but what happens is when you're following that discipline structure, your body adapts and then your energy becomes way higher than it has ever been, right? But getting back to the point, the structured training can look different for every person. Like I said, for me, it was 6 days a week, and I usually still train 6 days a week right now just because I like going to the gym. It's my routine. But I can do this on 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, right? This is completely dependent upon your lifestyle. The main thing that we focus on is the adequate amount of volume, the adequate amount of progressive overload, and focusing on the things that matter weekly rather than daily for training, right? As long as we get that program in throughout the week that we prescribe, we can make the results, right? So this looks like what I do is I do anywhere from 9 to 15 working sets, hard working sets per week per muscle group, right? And it's based around heavy compound movements. It's based around simple movements that allow me to get in there, make a big impact on my body, and get out of there. in a minimal amount of time while maximizing my results, maximizing the results of others. If you train hard, if you train very, very hard, you don't need hours and hours in the gym. You will realize that. If you get in there, you do the work, you do the damage, and you get out of there and you start recovering, you're good to go. Okay. Nutrition ownership. I took full ownership of my nutrition, tracked everything I ate, became brutally aware of my intake. I prioritized whole foods and protein. I stopped pretending calories did not matter. Nothing was random. Nothing was accidental. Everything had a purpose. So I started eating with a purpose. And I figured out my exact macro split that I needed, which actually took a bit of time. That's actually a decently confusing thing. But what I did was figure that out, and I followed it to the T. I prioritized whole foods completely. And then I had probably 10 to 15% that I allowed myself other things that I wanted. Now, this is going to look different for everybody else too, right? Because we want to set up a program for you to win, not for you to fail. So if we have to work around you being, traveling or going out on weekends with your wife and all the other things, this is built around real life, and we structure your macro program in order for you to keep accomplishing and keep progressing while living your life, right? So the main thing here is we do a complete macro breakdown of what you need to be eating, and we do the bare minimums of how much whole foods and all of your nutrient-dense foods you need to be eating, and then we allow for flexibility, right? So that you can still enjoy the ice cream with your kids, the date nights with your wife, and all of those other things, okay? You don't have to be a robot eating chicken and rice and broccoli every meal every day. You can still enjoy life while making amazing progress, all right? So daily movement. I made the daily movement a non-negotiable. I walked every single day, and actually I ran quite a bit too, and then I'd ruck some just because I wanted to. But walking is the most beneficial fat loss tool you can ever have in your belt if you did not know that. And it wasn't on days that I felt like it. It wasn't when it was convenient. It was every single day, no matter what, because that was the plan, right? And I did it outdoors too, in the weather and all of the shit, because that's what I said I was going to do. So in the program, we have a set movement allotment that you need to hit per day, right? And that depends on your goals and where we're going and how much progress we need to make and where you're starting, right? But that is a non-negotiable. Daily movement is a non-negotiable. You need to be moving. You need to be walking. You need to be getting your steps in. You don't have to be a runner. You don't have to do all this crazy cardio. You don't have to do HIIT cardio. You don't have to do any of that shit. You need to be moving and walking on a daily basis, right? And then the main thing was I stopped relying on motivation, because the reality is when you commit to a program, you'll be motivated at first. You'll be motivated the first few days, but that's going to fade very, very quickly when real life hits. You're going to realize, oh man, this is hard, man. This is hard work. I gotta continue doing this. I don't want to do this. I want to blow it. I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to eat these meals today. I want to just eat whatever I want, not track. You have to get rid of that motivation. You have to rely on your discipline. You have to rely on your word to yourself, the promises you make to yourself, right? You have to show up whether you felt like it or not, and just do the basics. Hit the daily tasks. That's all you got to do, okay? That's all you got to do is hit these daily tasks, and it will work for you. There's no secret. There's no magic plan. There's just a clear standard, and I refuse to negotiate with it. It's exactly what I was talking about up there, is that I said I was going to do it, so I did it. And that's how you make things happen. That's how you're going to make this happen. That's how this program works. You say you're going to do it, we give you the plan, and you run it. That's it. And as long as you do that, it works. All right, so in this program, there's 3 phases. Number 1 is the reset phase. Everything gets simplified. So this also depends on where you're starting, right? A lot of guys come to me and they actually have no idea what to do. So a lot of it starts here. Everything gets simplified. Habits get cleaned up. Structure gets established. Confusion gets removed. Training becomes consistent. Nutrition becomes intentional. daily movement becomes non-negotiable, right? So this is where we just set the baseline. This is where we set your daily tasks. We pull certain things out of your life that are holding you back, and you just get the momentum going. You're going to make a good amount of progress in this phase, but this is just to build momentum to keep you on track, right? So we can escalate from here. So step 2 is the full momentum phase. Fat loss accelerates and strength builds. Habit feel automatic. Results become undeniable. Confidence grows because progress is visible and measurable. So this is the funnest part of the program right here, because this is when all that momentum starts snowballing and you're seeing all of the hard work paying off, and you're able to escalate because you've already set this foundation in the reset phase, and you're able to just take off. You're getting stronger, you're getting leaner, you're looking better, you're feeling better, your clothes fit better, your confidence is up, you're walking around different in this phase, okay? For the first time in a long time, you could finally be proud of yourself. And then the sustainability phase. Everything locks in. This is where the results stop being temporary. You learn how to maintain progress while living your life without falling back into old patterns. This is the main goal of the entire program, guys. The main goal. I don't want you to do this program, lose the weight, like, oh, that was cool, and go back to exactly what you were doing before. This program is built to last you the rest of your life, so you can lean on it the rest of your life to stay in shape, to stay the man that you need to be, and not fall back into that hole. That's why we do this, okay? That's why the sustainability phase is the entire concept of the program, because what's the point of losing 30, 40, 50 pounds, being in great shape, and then just bouncing back to who you were before? It's a waste of time. We're not here to fucking waste time, okay? So training built for real life, I talked about this earlier. Most of my clients train 4 days a week. That just works for most people. And where we start is what you can actually commit to long-term. I don't want to hear what you can commit to when you're motivated. I don't want to hear 7 days a week, 2 hours a fucking day. I'll do it no matter what. What does it look like when all the motivation's gone, a few weeks down the road, real life hits, you have to work, you have your kids, you have practice, you have all this stuff. That's where we start, okay? And for most people, that's about 4 days a week, 60 minutes or less per training session, okay? I prefer you go to the gym. I really do. For a few different reasons. For one, the habit of doing so, right? The environment, being around other people that are like-minded, that are working towards the same goal as you, is always amazing. And the friendships that you make in the gym are great. But also because of the equipment that's available there, especially depending on where you're starting, right? We need to be able to train very hard. We need to progressively overload. And what I see a lot is people will say, I'm going to work out in my garage, but they don't have the equipment and weights needed to properly overload, which we can make progress no matter what. We can make progress on a body weight program. Okay. Like phenomenal progress. Have you diced up, lean, confident, all of that, doing body weight movements. But my preference is the goal. If you cannot make it to the gym, or my preference is the goal. My preference is the gym. If you cannot make it to the gym, we will adjust and do whatever we have to make you make that progress. But preferably, you're in the gym 4 days a week, we'll say anywhere 3 to 5 days a week, less than 60 minutes at a time. Walking, obviously, we talked about that already. We're gonna have to move. Okay. It improves fat loss efficiency. It regulates stress. It improves mood, supports recovery. It allows you to burn calories without breaking your body down, creates consistency without burnout. Walking is the best drug of all time, man. It's the best fat loss drug of all time. Best antidepressant of all time, too. If you're feeling a certain type of way, you're feeling low, down and out, if you go outside and walk for 30, 45 minutes, dude, you're going to be in a completely different mindset. Okay. We do step targets. That's our goal, right? I set you step targets, and then when we need to, we add additional cardio in, but we're not just hammering out fucking Stairmaster cardio all day long. All right. So nutrition is handled like an adult. We focus on mostly whole foods. Tracking intake is required. It is required. Okay. If we cannot track your intake, we have no idea what you're eating, we have no idea where to go from here. Okay. I don't care if you're eating clean, right? You can be eating clean and eating 4,000 calories. I don't think, like, a lot of people misinterpret what eating clean is. Calories matter. guys. At the end of the day, calories, macros, those things matter. You can overeat eating clean, okay? We don't do that. So we do eat clean. We eat whole foods, but we track everything. Protein matters, calories matter, but no food is banned forever. Alcohol. If you have a problem with alcohol, we're getting you off. You're not going to be drinking, but it is not banned from this program. Alcohol, social events are minimized during the fat loss phases, but they're not forbidden. Okay. So like I said earlier, I want you to still enjoy your life. I want you to enjoy your friends and your family and, glass of wine with your wife, whatever. But we're going to have to be strategic about it and figure out what works for you. All right. So the non-negotiables here. Number 1, you're going to hit your step target. It's a daily non-negotiable. Okay. Daily movement is the foundation of consistent fat loss and stress management. You're going to complete your training. You're going to show up every scheduled session and execute with focus. Now, listen, I understand that real life gets in the way. Okay. I really do. You need to prioritize your training. You need to prioritize your program. But if there are days where you cannot make it to the gym because of your kids are sick, you're sick, you got to take care of stuff with your family or whatever, I get it. That's fine. We will move that workout. But overall, you need to commit to this process. You need to commit to showing up. Okay. All right. And you will be tracking your intake. That's something that is monitored. We track it so we can monitor it and adjust it as needed. Right. So it's actually very simple, you guys. The apps make this really, really simple. An app and a food scale, and that's all. I mean, it takes such little time once you get used to it. That is a non-negotiable. And then you're going to drink your water. So we're going to set your hydration, your water intake. It depends on your size, your goals, you as an individual. That's something we work through in order to establish on the program. So usually that looks like half gallon to a gallon of water per day. And then communicate honestly. So whether you're doing this with me, yourself, or somebody else, you need to be honest about what you're doing. You need to be honest about what you're struggling with, what you're winning at, and what you're failing at. Mainly, that's the main thing you need to be honest about, is where you're falling short, where you're fucking up, because we need to make adjustments based on that. If you are lying and you're saying that you're doing everything correctly, but you're not making progress, I cannot help you. I cannot fix something that you're lying about, because there's no, it wouldn't make sense, right? If you're lying, saying you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but you're not making the progress, or even you're regressing, it just doesn't make sense. We need complete honesty. And if you're not doing this with me and you're doing it with yourself, you need to be completely honest with yourself as well. Okay. This is not complicated. It just requires you to execute on a daily basis. It is actually a very simple system. All right. So if you're working with me, this is the difference, right? I'm not a fucking fitness influencer. I am not a fucking gym bro that just lives in the gym. And look, I'm a man with a family, a busy schedule. I work 40 to 60 plus hours a week, right? I run a business. I do all of these things. I have a family. My kids are in sports. I don't live the online lifestyle. Okay. And I've lived in the shoes that you're in. I've been miserable. I've been overweight. I've been embarrassed. But now I live the life of discipline, confidence, and self-respect, and it's such a better way to live. All right. But I understand the real life aspect of things. That's the biggest benefit. Okay. You have complete and direct access to me. This is actual communication with me on a daily basis, not an assistant, not an automated system. This is you and me talking back and forth, checking in, going over everything. I'm extremely hands-on. I have a bird's eye view of your entire program, right? Everything you're doing on a daily basis, you have to check off in the app that we use. So I'm able to see that daily, multiple times a day, actually, that I check it. And I'm hands-on. I'm like, hey, how's this going? Why are you doing this? What's going on here? We need to adjust this. This is a hands-on, one-on-one program. Okay. This is for accountability. This is for adjustments. This is for everything. And then we have the early intervention. So since I'm watching everything, I'm able to look at it and be like, hey, we need to adjust here quickly. We make that adjustment on the fly. You start progressing. Anytime there's stagnation or you're regressing, we make that adjustment so that we're catching the mistake. You're not having to guess, and we continue progress, right? Okay, so check it out. I am so confident that this program works that if you execute everything that I say to do exactly as written, follow the non-negotiables, be honest, put in the effort, and you don't lose at least 10% of your body weight within the 180 days, I will continue coaching you for free until you do. That's how I know this program works. There is no way that it will not work if you are doing what we say you need to do. There's no way. Okay? This is a all-in, guaranteed results as long as you do the work. All right? So the real outcome of this program is not just fat loss. It's the strength, it's confidence, mental toughness, resilience, a better life, a better marriage. You're a better father. You're a better leader. You respect, or you earn the respect of everyone around you, your peers. Like, this is to become a better man. This is not just to have abs this summer. This is to change your fucking life. Okay? I want you to go into it with that mindset. This is to change your life. Okay? All right. So if you are ready to make this change, if this resonates with you and you're ready to change your life, I would love to schedule a call. I'd love for you to schedule a call with me or DM me for more information so we can actually see if we're a fit to work together. I don't just work with anybody in this program. We have a process, a phone call where we go through to make sure that we actually fit working together. Because reality is this is not for everybody. This is not for everybody. This is for a select group of people that are willing to work hard, that are willing to go all in, that are willing to stop making the excuses that they've been making, that are willing to actually make the change. All right. So if that's you, man, I would love to talk to you about it. I would love to get on a call with you, go over your goals, go over what you're struggling with, and just see if we can make that change together, and see if we can change your life. I want to be a part of this process with you. I want to help you change your life, help you become a better husband, help you become a better father, help you just become better as a man walking around on this earth. All right. So if that's you, I'm going to drop my calendar link in the bio below. Go ahead and just book a time that works for you, and we'll see what we can do, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to you. If you run this on your own, good luck. I appreciate you doing it. And yeah, man, I look forward to speaking with you guys. Appreciate you. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch that video, spending this time with me. I hope it helped you out. I hope it made a difference for you. I hope it impacted you. At this time, if this is something that you're interested in, if this is something that you're willing to commit to, you're ready to make that real life change for yourself, you're ready to go all in, not let up, make that investment in yourself, please feel free to book a call with my link in the description. I would love to get on a call with you, just go over what it would look like, us working together, what the program would look like, outline everything that we would need to do in order to help you reach your goals. So if that is something you want to do, again, the link is in the description, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.